What is up, everybody? What is up? I am going to review. Let's see here. I am going to review UFC Noche coming up this Saturday. Give you my full breakdown and picks. I am going to go over this stuff, and we are going to figure out who you guys should pick. I don't ever endorse gambling. I'm not going to sit here and say you should bet on them, because I definitely am not going to. But, whatever. I like to figure out who's going to win and then watch the fights and get super hyped when the person I pick won. But that's just me. Anyways, I'm going to pick through the undercard first, starting from the very earliest prelim all the way to the main event. I'll give you my full breakdown of it. And yeah, we're just going to do that moving forward. I'm going to be posting this kind of late in the week, 2 days before the card. But I had initially been starting to post on an older YouTube channel, which I was stupid and I lost the email to. Long story short, I had to scrap the YouTube channel, so I'm using this now. This has been one that I've had for a while that I always wanted to create MMA content on. And so, screw it, why not? So here it is, I'm using this one now. I didn't really have to throw too much stuff away, but, here we are. Anyways, we're going to start off here with the earliest prelim. Wow, great. That's amazing. Look at that. I want to expand the fight. Great. I love how they have their picture at the beginning, but then here they're just the shadows. But this is so stupid. Yeah, what is it? $7.7 billion Paramount deal, by the way. So, anyways, Donchenko is a striker, if I'm not mistaken, and Cezinado is a grappler. This is the one fight here that I'm going in completely blind. Completely and totally blind. I am not going to watch a full Ultimate Fighter season just to figure out who's going to win this fight. I haven't watched the Ultimate Fighter in so long, and I don't plan on doing it now. I feel like the quality is just awful. I see he has the higher betting odds, and from what I've learned from various YouTubers and stuff like that, is Donchenko is supposedly the favorite. Well, obviously by betting odds, but supposedly on Tough, he's looked better. He's had tougher competition, and this dude could have lost a couple times. I don't really know who I'm gonna pick. I'll just pick Donchenko because he's Ukrainian, I guess. So yeah, moving on to the next one. This I have a better idea on. I want to pick Alice Pereira, but I feel like is this even her name? I could have swore something different. Are they shortening her name? Whatever. Anyways, isn't her name something Montserrat? Whatever, dude. I don't know what's going on. If this is wrong, once again, $7.7 billion company. Whatever. I don't even know where to go from here. I'm gonna pick Rendon. Or whatever her real name should be. Because Alice Pereira, she's 19 years old. She's obviously supposed to be pretty good, but she's very pretty. I don't put it beyond Dana just to sign a pretty Hispanic girl fighter who's looking to make her UFC debut, who's probably UFC quality because let's be real, the depth at women's bantamweight is terrible. She's probably going to be able to make it just fine, but I'm not going to pick her to win her UFC debut. I'm going to go with the veteran. Even though she hasn't fought in 2 years, I'm going to go with her. I just don't see the 19-year-old coming up and winning. And her last opponent, I believe, was like 4-7. Like, her quality of opponents just isn't UFC caliber. I know Rendon gets a bad rap, but she's just a veteran. She's fought UFC caliber fighters. I don't know. Even though she lost her last fight, if I'm not mistaken, and hasn't fought in 2 years, I'm picking Rendon. This one also pretty easy. Correa, he's coming in at a short notice, less than a month maybe. I think short notice. This is his UFC debut. And Alessandro Costa, He is straight up a top 15 flyweight. He needs to be ranked. He just is very good. He's lost twice in the UFC, but he's lost to Steve Erceg, who we all know. He's freaking awesome. Could have been the champ when he, quote unquote, lost to Pantoja. And who was his other loss? His other loss was to somebody very good in the flyweight division as well. His two losses are like very, very good losses. And every single time he fights, he just sticks out as a top 15 talent to me. I don't. I think he beats this dude. He gets maybe a top unranked guy, and then he needs to fight a ranked person. If he doesn't get a ranked guy next, I mean, he's solid. He gets kind of a very underrated rap, but Alessandro Costa probably by finish. Rendon by decision. Danil Donchenko by finish KO. Zach Reese by knockout in the first round. Dumas. I stumbled there because his name should be Dumas. I'm gonna fucking freak out here for a second. His name should be Dumas. You are an idiot. You literally don't even know how to pronounce your last name, and then you anglicized it to be Dumas. Literally, you could have had the same last name as one of the best authors of all time. Count of Monte Cristo, The Three Musketeers, Dumas. It's supposed to be Dumas. Simply from that, Zachary Reese knockout. But unironically, Zachary Reese is significantly better. Dumas, I'm not even going to glorify him by giving him the proper pronunciation. Dumas, just straight up is not that good. He has power, for sure. He has a puncher's chance. But Zachary Reese is a finisher, and he's just simply better than Dumas. I don't know what else to say. He's better in every way. He could definitely get caught, but I don't see it. Here, this is an interesting fight that I really don't know who to pick here, if I'm going to be honest. Garul, it's his second fight in the UFC. He just lost his debut. And Aguilar has been in the UFC for a while. He's always hunting, guillotines. He's a good grappler. He's scrappy with everyone that he fights, really. I don't really know who to say here. And once again, I don't really know. I kind of want to go for... this is a toss-up for me. I kind of want to go Aguilar. Just because he has been in there significantly more than Garul has. But Garul also, he lost to Ode Osborne, and he's kind of had a decent run recently. I don't know. I'm going to switch up last minute. I'm going to go Garul. Okay? Going to go Garul. Here, Tatiana beats Lemos. Lemos is just a wet blanket on the ground. Tatiana's going to take her down, and she's going to grind out a decision. Lemos could win. I'm always very much so that there's never just a right or wrong answer, especially in fighting. But Lemos, to me, is just going to get taken down, wet blanketed by Tatiana Suarez. It's going to be a no contest here. I think Tatiana is going to start trying to make her way back to the title. And take over that spot when inevitably Zhang Weili goes away, because I don't know if she can beat her. But yeah, so Suarez, I have her by decision. All right, so this is definitely a pick'em. I see people debating back and forth, but I really don't see how Joaquim Silva gets the dub here. He's, decent, but Claudio Puelles, although he's definitely not good, he is gonna come out, throw an overhand right, shoot for a takedown, probably get Silva down, just in general survive with Joaquim Silva on the feet in order to get him down or up against the cage. I see Puelles really taking this one. I don't really know how, either submission or decision, but Puelles is my pick through and through here. I just don't see Silva pulling this one out. And then here, Medina and Todorovic. Todorovic has been in the UFC for a good little while, and Medina is trash, just straight up. I don't know what else to say. I know he's Bolivian, and they want to keep around for Noche and whatever. He has not looked good ever. I don't see why he's in the UFC. Todorovic can hang around for a little while with some of the, UFC quality talent that's in the division, and he can win every once in a while. So I'm going to put Todorovic on there. I really don't think the breakdown needs to be more than that. And up next is Alexander Hernandez, Diego Ferreira. It's crazy to me Diego's an underdog. Once again, I'm not a betting guy, but this is kind of crazy to me. I think this fight is very close. I was convinced that Hernandez might be the underdog, and I was going to pick Hernandez. Just because this is less than a month since he fought last, right? It's 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Obviously, it was really quick against Chase Hooper, but, you know, Hernandez, since coming back up to lightweight finally, is starting to look pretty good, and I hope that he beats Ferreira. Ferreira is aging, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ferreira pulled it out. But I think Hernandez is going to be able to use his power. He's going to be able to at least slug it out with Ferreira to the point where he's going to lump him up a bit, and slow him down and start to slowly take over the fight and win a decision just based on striking skill. But I could also see potentially a TKO. But I am going to pick Alexander Hernandez regardless. I think Hernandez takes it, and he starts... This might be Cope. I'm a Alexander Hernandez supporter. So, could be potentially slight Cope here. But I think Hernandez is going to win his second fight in a month, and it's going to start to really give him the momentum he needs to make a run at a ranked opponent soon. But on to the next one. Santiago Luna, Kwang Lee. As I was talking to Lorenzo Predicts earlier in his live stream, Santiago Luna's 6-0, and he's 21 years old, and he's obviously from Texas, from the region. He's obviously of Hispanic descent, so they really wanted to sign him because Kwang Lee, if I'm not mistaken, he was going to fight David Martinez, but whoever dropped out of here, I forget who dropped out of this co-main event, but they moved David Martinez up, and then they signed Santiago Luna. But he's on 2 weeks' notice, and he's also a featherweight. So, at least his last fight was featherweight, so I don't know what's going to go on here, if he's even going to make weight. I don't know. But his last fight was at featherweight, so I can only assume, because that's the only fight that I've seen of him, that he's a featherweight and, fights at bantamweight as well. But 2 weeks' notice to drop down a division that you didn't even fight at last time to go in here and fight Kwang Lee. Kwang Lee's not the best, but Santiago Luna, collegiate wrestler, decent boxing. I would compare him to Aaron Pico Light. Aaron Pico Light. That's what he is. Aaron Pico Light, even at this age, 21 years old. So when Aaron Pico was like super early in his career, Luna's a little bit worse than that. But he has the same kind of makings, right? I don't think on 2 weeks' notice going down to potentially a more difficult weight class for him to make, fighting Kwang Lee, who is a decent prospect, not that great, but decent prospect, on 2 weeks' notice. I just don't see it for Luna. I have Kwang Lee winning. Probably a finish. I imagine Luna's going to gas out. I could be super wrong about this. If I am, I would be super excited. But yeah, I don't know how Lee is a underdog here. These two next ones are real difficult. Much more difficult than the co-main and the main for me, if I'm being completely honest. So, man, I can't even remember what I had said about this. I mean, I gotta go Kelvin Gastelum, right? Dustin Stoltzfus is okay. Like, dude, can we say anything other than he's okay? Kelvin Gastelum is Kelvin Gastelum. He's the same age as Dustin Stoltzfus, but he's fought fucking everybody. I mean, come on. He's fought everybody. He just lost to Joe Pyfer. And, bro, go watch that Joe Pyfer fight. Go watch it. That was not a bad performance by Kelvin. It really wasn't. He got hurt a couple times, but in the third round, you can argue that he won the second round. I could see an argument for that. I think he lost the fight, but you can make an argument that he won the second round and then he won the third round. So, in my opinion, Kelvin Gastelum has still got it. I think Kelvin still has the makings to be a 10 to 15 ranked middleweight. I mean, this might be straight cope also, but Kelvin to me is definitely the pick here. I think that if he, I don't know, I mean, but he's tricked us so many times before, right? He just has. Kelvin is, every once in a while he can show up and just be awful, and then he can show up and be world class. So take it with a grain of salt as always, but Kelvin to me looked great his last fight. He's looked great his last couple, 3-4 fights. I mean, I think he's probably going to starch Stoltzfus. I do. This is difficult. I think Rafa Garcia is very underrated here. I think this is going to be a close fight. I would not be surprised if Rafa won. He has very good fundamental boxing. But Jared Gordon is just, I don't know. I think he beat Hakparas, or not. What's his name? Nasrat Hakparas, is that his name? He definitely beat him, in my opinion. And he got kind of robbed there. And then when you look at his record, his last couple fights, I mean, let's actually go here real quick. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, he slept Moises. Yeah, Hakparas, I think he won this fight. He obviously beat Madsen by KO. I mean, people think he beat Patty. I think he beat Patty as well. I don't know why I said it like that. But if you count these, like, people think he should have won that fight. He obviously knocked him out. He should have won this fight also. I think you'll be hard-pressed to find many people who think... I mean, it was close, but I think truly Gordon won that fight. And then he knocked out Moises. I mean, you can't argue with that kind of run, but I think Garcia is better than people give him credit for. But I just got to go with Jared Gordon. So I'm going with Jared Gordon here. And here as well, I don't know why Rob Font is such a small favorite. Rob Font's just going to win, dude. David Martinez is decent, but he's changing opponents to fight a top 15 fighter on, 2 weeks notice? I mean, sure, he was in fight camp, but he wasn't prepping for Rob Font. Rob Font is, solid boxing, good jab. I don't know, man. Tall, lanky, just troublesome in general. I think Rob Font has this. I would be surprised if David Martinez won. I think it's going to be an outclass, unanimous decision, Rob Font. And then to the main event. I didn't know Gene Silva was ranked 10th. I felt like he was ranked a little higher than that. But Diego Lopez, obviously everyone's favorite fighter, great mullet, amazing mustache, by the way. Look at this, tremendous mustache. It's fantastic. But unfortunately here, guys, I think that standing up, Gene is just so big and explosive and fast. I don't know, man. I think Gene has it. I really do. I think Diego Lopez is amazing. I hate to pick against Diego Lopez. I actually do not like John Silva, and I like Diego Lopez, but I think John wins. I really do. I think his stand-up is superior. He's going to be able to hurt Diego, and I don't think he's going to finish Diego, but I could see it happening, and I think Diego is just not going to have the same crispness on his punches. I think he's going to have the advantage on the ground if it goes there. But that's kind of me just thinking that Diego's very creative on the ground, underrated on the ground. and let's just say John Silva slips, gets caught, dropped, whatever, I could see Diego getting like a Darce or a guillotine or something like that when he's like on a knee or something, or like hopping on his back and submitting him after he drops him, something like that. I think that if Diego wins, it's going to be in that fashion rather than Gene Silva, I think, is going to TKO Diego Lopez. If, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I can't imagine with John Silva's style that he's going to be able to last 5 rounds well. I think that Diego Lopez looked good in the Volk fight in terms of conditioning, but I also think he really kind of paced himself. So I'm curious to see if he's going to do that same kind of tactic. I'm just not sure, man. I'm just not sure. But I'm going to go with John. I think John is going to be able to pull this one out. Disappointing, but I think it's true. I hope Diego wins in the way I say. I can see him winning, but I think John wins. So, just a quick recap of everybody. Daniil Donchenko, Rendon, Costa, Reese, Garul, Suarez, Puelles, Dushko, Alexander Hernandez, Quang Lee, Kelvin Gastelum, Jared Gordon, Rob Font, and John Silva. Those are my picks, guys. I'm going to track them and come back with a recap at the very end. I'm also going to come out with a video matching up all the fighters from last week's UFC event. I meant to have done that way earlier, but I didn't. So I'm going to do that. Should be pretty interesting. I think I have a lot of good matchups cooking up, and I'm going to do the same thing for these guys when it's all said and done as well. But peace out. Enjoy your day. Watch the fights. Have a good one.